Hey guys, it's your boy Willie Brapp, and today we are doing an oil change on my Honda CRF250L. So for the oil change, you're gonna need a few things. One, you're gonna need some shop towels because you're doing an oil change, it's gonna get dirty, it's gonna get everywhere, and you wanna be able to clean it up. The second thing you're gonna need is an oil catch. You can go buy this from the auto parts zone, or you can just get a giant bucket, but you wanna make sure that you dispose of it properly when done, so this helps because as it's about to pour it out. Now, you might need a funnel, depending on the size of the oil hole in the bike. So if you're kind of timid with just pouring straight from the bottle to the bike, use a funnel. It'll save you from cleaning up with those towels. And then you're gonna use oil. Now, Honda recommends, according to the manufacturer's book for this bike, that you use 10W30. However, when I went to the Honda dealer to go pick up the oil, they said, honestly, if we do the maintenance on the bike ourselves, we're gonna use 10W40. Now, I live in Texas, so based on your temperature, that might be a little bit different, but for my oil change, I'm just using GN4 Pro Honda oil 10W40. And then the next thing you're gonna need is a replacement oil filter. I use K&N, you can get the OEM ones, whatnot. K&N is a pretty good bet. And then you're gonna need some sockets. Now, to remove the stock bash plate, which I do not have, but if you do have it, you're gonna need a 10mm socket. And then you're gonna need an 8 and a 12 for the oil drain plug and for the oil filter. Now, you don't necessarily need to remove the skid plate on the bike. However, it just does make it a little bit easier to get in there and undo it and clean up a little bit later so you don't get oil all over it. So that's it for the supplies you're gonna need. Now let's get to work. So guys, the first step is gonna be removing the skid plate. Now I have a Flatlands Racing one, but for everybody who has a stock, it's the 10mm sockets up front. If you have an aftermarket one, just remove it how it is. So guys, if you haven't bought the owner's book that comes with this, there's actually the entire thing online, which saves you about $65. So I'm gonna include a link in that in the bottom. But the first step of the actual oil change is going to be warming up the engine. So what you're just gonna do, turn it on, let it idle for about a few minutes, and then we'll get to the next step. So once your engine has warmed up, the next step is going to be removing the oil filler cap. So this is actually going to be where you're going to end up pouring the oil back in. So you're just going to lightly twist it and it comes right off. It's just a little plastic cap. And just keep that somewhere nice and clean. I'm going to put mine in a rag just so it doesn't get dirty, so you don't get gunk back in the engine. So for this next part, what you want to do is you want to get your oil catcher and then undo your engine oil bolt or drain bolt in the bottom. The Honda CRF is a 12mm. So just go ahead and do that. And then once it gets pretty close to coming out, what you're gonna wanna do is get ready to catch the oil. Now, it's gonna take a little bit of force to unlock it just because it is torqued down. You just gotta break it loose. So, I mean, I'm a pretty big dude and that took some getting work. What you want to do is just slowly undo it. You should be able to feel where the oil is about to pour out. And the reason I like this drain tank is because it has this little mesh guard so that if the bolt does pop down, you won't lose it in the oil. So let's see. And oh, there we go. Man, that's some nasty oil. Look at that. Ugh. And another thing is you want to make sure that you drain it on the kickstand. Some people say drain it up, but actually with the kickstand down, it flows all to this side and you get it all. So once you do that, just go ahead and clean your hands and let it drain. So now that you have drained the majority of your oil, what you're gonna wanna do, or what I at least do, is I take the top and put a little rag on it and just let that drip. And then I go over to the oil filter. Now for the oil filter, I kind of bring this over with me just in case, because more oil is gonna come out. And you use an 8mm socket to undo these. Now, with this one, it's a little bit hard with the brake lever, so you are gonna wanna use the extension. So as you get to the last bolt, you're gonna notice it's gonna have a little bit of a spring to it. That's because inside of here, there's actually a spring that holds the engine oil filter in. So this last bolt, you're probably gonna have to use the socket just to get it all the way off. And then some people replace the gasket. I know that this bike had an oil change not too long ago from the previous owner and they replaced the gasket. So unless your gasket, in my opinion, is absolutely destroyed, you're probably good to use the same one. I'm not a mechanic, so don't take my word on that, but that is what I'm going to go ahead and do. Now what you're going to want to do next is you're going to just want to clean up the area, so get the excessive oil out. Try not to get any debris in because this is going to be cycling through your engine, but you also don't, at the same time, don't want that nasty old engine oil in there. So once you clean that, come over to the gasket. Don't bend it, but clean it. And then like I said earlier, you can replace this. I'm choosing not to. It does recommend in the maintenance book that you do, so keep that in mind. Don't take my word on that. Once you kind of go over and clean off the engine, you're going to be ready to install your new oil filter. Make sure you get all that nasty, dirty black oil out. And once you do that, we are ready to install. So for the install, what you're going to do is you're going to take your new engine oil filter, and the part that is marked out, you're going to stick out. Now that part is this part, this black hole, because what's going to happen is this is going to go around right there. So what you need to do is take the spring and put it on, and take that and put it on. And then you're going to want to take your gasket, put that back on where it belongs, and then you're going to want to take your bolts and reinstall it. So the next step is going to be reinstalling the drain plug so that you can fill back up your oil. So you're just going to put it back in, and you're going to want to torque it down to 18 pounds. So once you install the drain plug back, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and get your oil. If you did not change the oil filter, which you should, you're going to use 1.5 quarts, but if you did change the oil filter like I did, you're going to use 1.6. Now, each one of these bottles that you would get from like the Honda dealer is one whole quart. So just be cognizant of that. You're going to use one of these and then 60% of the other. And it's labeled back here on the back, so as I go through, I'll make sure to help out and tell you guys what you need. So let's go ahead and start filling. Check that oil level. So the best way to do that, if you don't have a friend who can hold it, just grab it by the front bar. I like to grab it by the exhaust and tilt her on down. And as you can see, I am good. We are good on the oil. So now what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna close up your oil, check all your gaskets and stuff to make sure you're not leaking right now. And you're gonna wanna take your little cap that you had, screw it back on. Now I've been looking into different caps on the bike because this one seems plastic and nice and flimsy. Zeta makes one. I've been looking into possibly getting that, so maybe next oil change we'll replace it and do a little quick install video. I just want to let her run for a little bit. So I do not have enough engine oil in her yet, as you can see by that. So you definitely don't want to run it when you don't have enough engine oil in it. That's just going to be bad for the bike and it could possibly hurt it. So what you want to do is just go back over to your oil and pour in a tad bit more. So that's why you want to check it like that, because according to that I was fine without it running. But now that I've got some in the oil filter and everything, it's running and we're good, which is about right. I'm about 50%, so I need to put about 10% more of this bottle in. If we come back down to the engine, we are within that acceptable oil range when she is up. So we are all good, gents. And that is how you do an oil change. Now, the last thing you want to do is just go over the bike, make sure nothing's leaking, clean up any oil mess, clean out your pan, and please try and dispose of your oil correctly. Take it to an auto parts store. They can dispose of it for you. Don't just put it back in the bottle and trash it. It's bad for the environment, bad for everything else. And a lot of us who love dual sports, we want to keep the environment good so we can tear it up. So it's your boy Willie Brapp, and I will see you guys next time.